Hey folks, thanks for joining in to another of our PAC-T videos. That is precision, accuracy, consistency, and terminal performance of various bullets. You know, I've done a lot of handgun bullets, and today we're going to do another defensive round. This is the Barnes TAC XPD. It's a defensive ammunition offering by Barnes, factory ammo. You can get this same 185 grain 45 ACP bullet to reload. It just won't have the coating. And the coating that I'm talking about is this sort of a grayish appearance. It's not a moly coat, I don't believe. And of course, they also have it in sort of a nickel-plated case. It looks like a very nice bullet. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to head out to the range and fire 5 rounds of this bullet right here into my bullseye target placed at 15 yards. Those 5 rounds are going to be measured for extreme spread. That gives me the precision measurement. I'm going to score that bullseye target. That's my accuracy measurement. And I'm going to also shoot these rounds over the lab radar chronograph. The standard deviation of the muzzle velocities gives me the consistency measurement. Then, 1 round into clear ballistic gelatin. I'm using a 20% NATO block. 1 round of this into it. We're going to see how well it performs. And I'm looking at expansion of this bullet. I'm looking at penetration. And I'm looking at weight retention. You know, we can learn a little bit by looking at the slow motion video of the transient cavitation or the temporary wound channel, that kind of balloon that gets created as these bullets enter into that medium. And we'll have a much more devastating appearance, or a much more impressive temporary wound channel whenever that bullet is exceeding the speed of sound as it enters into that ballistic gel. We're going to see how this 45 ACP round stacks up, and a little bit of a spoiler alert for you. This is one heck of a bullet. You know, I tested this thing a number of years ago. I was pretty impressed with it. But the test that we're doing with this ballistic gelatin, the stuff we're doing today, excellent, excellent round. Stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss how this all pans out. 185 grain Barnes TAC personal defense. 5 rounds at the bull. Wow, it's over 1,000 feet per second. Very consistent so far. That's 5 on the bullseye. Extreme spread is 11 feet per second. Standard deviation only 4.5 feet per second difference on this 5 rounds. That's some very nice ammo. The Barnes TAC XPD really did well. You know, looking at the bullseye target, we had a 5-shot group of 1.883 inches. That's our extreme spread, taking into account for the size of these bullets, 0.451. And that's really good. They're all in the red. This, remember, was shot from 15 yards off the bench with that H&K 45 Tactical. Overall score of those 5 shots was a score of 46, maximum of 50, with 2 in the X. We had an average muzzle velocity of just over 1,000 feet per second, 1,088 feet per second to be precise, which is just shy of the 1,100 feet per second speed of sound that, if it pushed above that, might have made for an even more interesting results in the ballistic gelatin. But let's not leave the PAC part of our test quite yet, because our standard deviation was absolutely phenomenal. 4.5 feet per second, a standard deviation between those 5 rounds. And I don't think I've ever seen, number one, factory ammo that can achieve or has achieved something like that. And even my reloads, the very, very carefully crafted reloads, this would be a fantastic standard deviation on those reloaded rounds as well. So what a good job. You know, I tested these same Barnes TAC XPD bullets a couple of years ago. I did my bullet torture test, and also did a number of other tests, and this bullet did fine. It did good, did well with that as well, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to retest it. But I did that original test in the Springfield Armory Range Officer Champion, much shorter barrel, and I was re-watching that old footage, and the velocities were nowhere near what we were getting with the HK-45 Tactical. And I'm seeing that fairly regularly, that the HK pistol, yes, it has a longer barrel than some of these other 45s that I've been shooting, but it also has a very different type of rifling. That's that polygonal rifling that H&K uses, that may be reducing the resistance as the bullet travels through the bore and giving me a little bit more velocity. I'm not really sure of that, but that's something I'm going to be looking at as I use that pistol and compare it to others again in the future. Well, now let's take a look and talk about the terminal ballistic performance test. And this is where this Barnes bullet really excelled. I always fire this one test round at a very close distance of only 7 yards, and we have a penetration, almost an ideal, pretty much an ideal penetration of 14 3/4 inches. The jacket and core, well, there is really no core here, but the bullet did not fragment whatsoever. It retained all of its weight, 100% or 99.8% of the weight was retained. That extracted bullet was 184.7 grains. That is assuming that it started off at truly 185.0 grains. And if you've done much with bullets, you'll know that they do vary a little bit. But anyway, 100% weight retention. The diameter of the retrieved bullet was over 3/4 of an inch, 0.770 of an inch, giving us an expansion of 171%. All said and done, the overall score was a whopping 442.5 points. Now, I have not seen any bullet perform or give me a score like this ever before. This really did a fantastic job. That, coupled with the fact that it did very, very well on paper, the accuracy was definitely there, the precision was just fine, the consistency was phenomenal. Wow, this is one heck of a bullet. I mean, it really is. We look at this thing, and there's really nothing a person can complain about. Oh yes, 442.5 points out of a possible 500. Well, it still could do better, and we might find a bullet that still does better than this. But the Barnes TAC XPD is now king of the hill. It has surpassed the Sig Sauer Sierra V-Crown and the Spear Gold Dot, which were coming in at about 425 points. Hey, if you'd like to see us do a test on a certain bullet, just let us know. Put your thoughts, your ideas into the comments below. I've got a number of other PAC-T tests coming up. I'll be starting to shoot some rifle rounds into this ballistic gelatin, including the Hornady GMX. And I'm planning some barrier tests with the best of the best bullets. Thanks a bunch for watching. See you around.